What if I told you everything wrong in your life started with one single decision made at the very beginning of humanity? Not your decision, not your parents' decision, but the very first decision made by the first two humans on earth. Today, you are about to hear that story. The story of the first temptation and how humanity lost paradise. After humans were placed in the Garden of Eden, a perfect place with no pain, no fear, no suffering, it seemed like everything would stay that way forever. But then something happened. Something that changed the entire course of human history. Among all the creatures that God had created, there was one that stood out, the serpent. It was more cunning than any other creature, and it became the voice of temptation. One day the serpent approached the woman, and it began with a simple question. Did God really say, "You must not eat from any tree in the garden"? A question that seemed harmless, but it planted something dangerous inside her mind: doubt. The woman replied that they were free to eat from every tree except one, the tree in the middle of the garden. The tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God had warned them that if they ate from it, they would die. But the serpent continued. "You will not surely die," it said. "God knows that when you eat it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." And in that moment, humanity stood at a crossroads. Trust God or trust the temptation. The woman looked at the fruit. It was beautiful, pleasing to the eye, and it seemed to offer wisdom. A thought crossed her mind. Then came the action. She reached out, took the fruit, and ate it. Then she gave it to Adam, who was standing with her, and he ate it too. In just one moment, everything changed. Their eyes were opened, but not in the way they expected. Instead of becoming like God, they became aware of their shame. They realized they were naked. They felt fear for the first time, and they quickly covered themselves with leaves. This was the first time in history that humans felt guilt. That evening, when they heard God walking in the garden, Adam and Eve did not run toward him. They hid. A painful shift had happened, from closeness to distance, from peace to fear. God called out, "Where are you?" Not because he did not know, but because he wanted them to face themselves. Adam answered, "I heard you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid." The truth began to unfold, but instead of taking responsibility, Adam blamed the woman. The woman blamed the serpent. Sin did not just bring shame, it brought division and blame. God began to speak judgment. The serpent was cursed to crawl on its belly and to live in conflict with humanity. The woman would experience pain in childbirth, and her relationships would no longer be pure. Adam would struggle to survive. The ground would no longer produce easily, but would be filled with thorns and hardship. Then came the final words. "You are dust, and to dust you shall return." This was death, But even in judgment, there was something unexpected. God did not leave them in their shame. He saw them, and He covered them. He made garments of skin and clothed them. A small act, but filled with deep love. A reminder that even after failure, God does not abandon humanity. Adam named his wife Eve because she would become the mother of all living. Even after sin, life continued. But then came a final decision. God sent them out of the Garden of Eden, not only as punishment, but as protection. Because if they had eaten from the tree of life, they would live forever in a broken state, and suffering would never end. So God placed guardians and a flaming sword to block the way to the tree of life. And just like that, the gates of paradise were closed. But this story is not just about the past. It is about us. Because every human has faced temptation. Every human has made the wrong choice. Every human has tried to hide and to blame. But the most important truth is this: no matter how far you fall, God is still looking for you. So now, ask yourself one question: where are you?